What's good, everybody? My name is Lance. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, I'm finally gonna dive into. Oh no, you hear that? Sirens outside. Never fails. As you can see by the title, I'm finally gonna dive into my addiction story. Basically, give you guys the background, give you guys the story of how I got into drugs, how it started when I was a young teenager, and the whole nine, how everything led up to where I'm at today. So I hope you guys really like this story. I made a decision that I'm not gonna edit my videos. I'm just gonna kind of film them and just put them out with no editing and just to keep it 100 with you guys. I don't want no fucking fake shit. I don't like that shit. So what you see is what you get. I hope you guys don't mind. So yeah, before we get into this video real quick, I would just like to please politely ask all of you if you would not mind taking 1 minute, just click that subscribe button if you have not already. It truly means a lot to me. I know you hear YouTubers and people say this all the time, that they love you and you're their babies and my friends, my family, but those people have friends in real life. I don't. Like, I don't have one friend. My family is not really in my life. So when I tell you guys you really are my friends and like it truly means a lot to me, it truly does. So thank you for that. Please subscribe, like this video, and let's get into it. All right. So I don't think I'm gonna talk about my childhood in this video, like from the age of like I'm gonna start at like the age 13 and on because that's when it started to get kind of bad for me. But from 13 and younger, I could do a whole separate video on that, guys. If you wanted me to, just let me know. Because at the end of the day, my childhood probably has a lot to do with why I'm so fucked up today. My childhood was an absolute nightmare, like a true horror story. So if you guys were interested in hearing about that, like from the time I was born up until I was like in high school, I could do a video on that. Just let me know. But for the purposes of today's video, we're gonna start when I went into high school, okay? So I started high school in 2003. Okay, I was 14. And I ended up going to a technical high school. And for those of you who don't know what a tech school is, it's a high school, but 1 week you'll have academic classes like math, history, English, whatever the fuck classes you're taking. And then for the entire next week, the whole week, you will be in your shop, in your trade. And there's different trades. I ended up taking culinary arts because that's what I ended up liking the best, I guess. But there was, a bunch of different trades in the school, like electric, carpentry, computer tech, childcare, culinary arts. You get it. So I ended up going to that high school, and just like any high school, I think, but maybe even more so, where I was living at the time, my high school was loaded with drugs. Loaded. I mean, they were fucking, you name it, it was probably in that school. Um, I keep hearing shit. My bad. It was probably in that school, right? And all everybody did was party. So when I was in middle school, like before I got there, I was not really a partier. My family partied, and I have to give you guys a little backstory. At this point, my mom was a single mom. So you guys have to understand that I never had like strict parents. I never had rules. I was allowed to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. My house ended up becoming the party house, like the known party house where everybody went, right? Because I was allowed to. I was allowed to do whatever I want, so I did. And my sister, she's only 1 year younger than me, so it was not uncommon for her to have 15, 20 people over, me to have 15, 20 people over on a Friday and Saturday and just be having a giant party where everybody's drinking and smoking weed, and that's what we did. And my mom smoked weed. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you guys. My mom drank, my mom partied, she smoked weed, so we did too. And that was innocently enough how it all began, just like a lot of people. that age, I guess, it was all innocent. You never think at that age that it's going to become your life and that you're never going to be able to climb out of it, right? So we would have parties every Friday, every Saturday, tons of people over, drinking vodka, smoking weed, and that's pretty much all it was until I was about 15 or 16, I want to say, maybe like 15. My cousin came over one time and he had a bag of Oxycontin, 80 milligram Oxycontin. I'll never forget it. And I didn't, I had seen people do harder drugs before. Like I had been around people doing coke and pills and stuff like that, but I myself had not done it. But you got to remember, at this point, I was a party boy, drinking all the time, smoking weed. I already at this point loved anything that took me out of my straight mind, out of reality. And I wanted to try everything. I was not nervous. I was not one of them kids that was afraid to try drugs. Like, oh my God, what is this going to do to me? I know this is dangerous. I know I could die. I didn't have any of that. I wanted to try it and I wanted to see, oh my God, like people love this. Why do people love this? How does this make you feel? I want to try it. So he came over one night. We were having a party and he broke out the Oxycontin. And I did my first line of Oxycontin when I was 15 years old. And I fucking loved it. I'll never forget that. I remember feeling in my head that I wanted to feel like that forever. It was the best feeling. I felt so free. Any problems that, the stresses of being a teenager, you're anxious, you're going through this, that, the other, everything just went away. Like I didn't care what people thought about me anymore. I didn't care about nothing. A fucking nuclear bomb could have went off and I would not have cared. I felt so good, and I'm like, who wouldn't want to feel like that? So it quickly became a thing that I started looking for. We'd have more parties on the weekends, and it was no longer just like a bottle of vodka and a bunch of weed that was doing the trick. Now it was like, yo, let's see if we can find some Oxycontin. And that's what we started doing. And it very quickly took off. I would say within like 4 or 5 months, I was probably physically addicted to it, where I was actually already having like withdrawals and stuff. And mind you, I'm 15, 16 years old at this point. You know what? In 10th grade, a sophomore in high school, and I was already going to school dope sick on certain days when I couldn't get the pills. And I didn't have an income at that point, so it was like friends. It'd be my friends' money. Like, I'd be like, get money from your parents, and bring everybody together, and we would all buy drugs. So it started out like that. And then I remember I was having a party one weekend. It was a Friday night, and I invited one of my boys over who was a lot older. He was like 21 at the time, and I'm like 15 or 16, whatever, already really heavy into Oxycontin. And he brought over cocaine. He pulled out this big bag of white powder, and I'm like, yo, what is that? In my mind, fucking party boy over here, I want to know, what is that? He told me it was cocaine, and I said, yo, can I try it? Can you break out some lines? Can we try it? And he told me yes, and I tried it, and I fucking loved it. I absolutely loved it. So then it became cocaine, drinking, smoking weed, and doing Oxycontin. And I'm 16 years old at this point. And still pretty much only doing it on the weekends, but like I would do pills like Oxycontin and stuff throughout the week so that I didn't have to go to school feeling like complete shit, because I was either going to school so fucked up on Oxycontin that I was drooling and not even able to function because I'd be so high, or I was going to school feeling like complete shit where I couldn't function because I was sick. And you quickly started noticing it in my high school, like with the opiates flooding into the high school. It was no longer just like me and my friends. It was everybody who was getting them from their parents or getting them on the street. And it just became a big thing to the point where we would be in school, no lie, and I got in trouble for this. I got arrested in school in 11th grade um, for sniffing Oxycontin off the art table. We were in art class, and it was me and a bunch of my friends sniffing lines of Oxycontin off the art table. We did not get caught by the teacher. It was another student who was freaked out about it and went and told the dean of students, and I ended up getting ripped out of class, and the cops were there, and I got arrested. That's a whole nother story. That was the first time I ever got in trouble with the law. So you can imagine at this point, I'm only in high school, like I'm a fucking kid, and I'm already this bad. So like I said, it was on the weekends, and it'd be cocaine and just partying, partying, partying. Anyway, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. So that was my story throughout high school. Senior year comes, I'm partying all the time. I have a severe Oxycontin addiction. I'm doing tons of cocaine and drinking still on the weekends. Just party, party, party. Not going to school like I should be. Da da da. Anyways, I had a job at that point. I was working at a restaurant, so I would go to school all day long, get up at 6 in the morning, go to school, get out, and be working until like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then getting out of work and going home and partying. And also at work, I was in and out of the bathroom, sniffing coke, sniffing Adderall, sniffing pill. You get it. You guys get it, right? Anyways, somehow I managed and ended up graduating high school, which is one of my greatest accomplishments because nobody in my family has ever graduated. When I tell you nobody, I mean is on either sides of my family, my dad's or mom's side, as far back as we know in history, like grandparents, great grandparents, great great grandparents, nobody had ever graduated high school. I was the first one to ever graduate, and that was a huge accomplishment for me. That I ended up pulling that off somehow. I have no idea how I did it. So I got out of high school, ended up leaving that restaurant job, and I ended up getting a job at a home healthcare company. I went out and got my CNA license, and I was working in a home healthcare company with elderly people at their homes. I wasn't in a nursing home or anything. I would go out to people's homes and take care of the elderly. Um, so I was working at this one home, and it was a husband and a wife, and they were the most amazing couple. He was 97 and she was like 90, and they were the sweetest couple ever, and I love them. And they rest in peace. They passed away, obviously by now, but it was an amazing job anyway. But at this point, my addiction was really bad with the oxycontin and everything else. And I'd be at work and in the bathroom sniffing pills, and just you guys know how it goes. I was off and running, and at this point I'm like 19, 20 years old, fresh out of high school. And I go to work one day, and so it'd be me taking care of the husband. Because I could only take care of the males, and then it'd be a female taking care of the wife, another staff member. So I show up to work one day, and I was really sick this day. I remember having no energy, just feeling like complete shit. And the girl that I was working with at the time, I had no idea, but she was a heroin addict, and she noticed it. She was like, "Yo, what's going on with you?" I had the sniffles, I had no energy, I was quiet, just feeling like absolute shit. And I was really skeptical, but I ended up. She was like younger, like me, and so I just felt like I could talk to her, and I ended up telling her what was going on, that I was in withdrawal from OxyContin, and I felt like complete shit. And lo and behold, this girl was a heroin addict, and she had heroin on her. And she said to me, she's like, "Yo, have you ever tried H before?" And I'm like, "H, like, what do you mean, heroin?" And she's like, "Yeah, have you ever tried it?" And I was like, "No, all I do is pills." I think I was 19 at this point. And she's like, "Well, it's the same fucking thing." She's like, "And it's a lot cheaper, and you need a lot less of it to get the job done." And you guys know the desperation if you've ever been through it. If not, hello, it's a fucking nightmare. But if you've been through it, you guys know that desperation of when you're in withdrawal, how you will do anything. I would have done anything at that point to feel better. Absolutely fucking anything. Anything. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. And she's like, "I have some on me." So we ended up, mind you, we're at work taking care of an elderly couple on the books, getting paid in this fucking couple's home. We go in the bathroom, and she gives me a bag of heroin. And out here on the East Coast, I don't know where you guys are from, we have the wax baggies. They're little tiny wax baggies. Um, Actually, hold on, I can show you guys one. I probably shouldn't be doing this on YouTube, but I am still currently in my addiction at the moment. We'll get into that, but let me show you guys one. Hold on, just in case you've never seen it. Okay, this is so bad. I'm probably gonna get. Anyway, this is what they look like, and they have little stamps on them, like different pictures, and it's just a wax baggie. You just blow it open like that, and it'll be filled up with heroin, like up to here. So this is one bag here where I live. I know in other places they do it differently. And the heroin is very strong around here, by the way, and very cheap. Um, She ended up giving me one of those, and I remember she showed me how to do it because I had never done it before. She dumped it out on the table, and I sniffed it and did that entire bag. And I remember for the rest of my shift feeling like I was on top of the fucking world. I never wanted to touch a pill again. Like, this is how I'm supposed to feel. I remember, like, I want to feel like this forever. So from that day on, the pills were gone, you guys. The pills were gone. I was no longer doing pills. It was all heroin. I had my dealer. She became my dope dealer for a couple months. And then you know, throughout different drugs that you do, you end up meeting different crowds of people. So I quickly got real involved into, you know, the crowd of heroin addicts. And before you know it, I had 20 dealers, and I only sniffed it for about 2 months, you guys, right? And then, I was quickly around some people who were shooting it, and long story short, I said, give it to me, let me do it. And 2 months after trying sniffing my first bag of heroin, I was an IV heroin user. And after that, there was no turning back. There was no fucking turning back. So, I'm 20 years old at this point. I'm now shooting heroin. And not only that, um, I began shooting everything else. So I was no longer smoking crystal meth. I was shooting crystal meth. I was shooting heroin. I was shooting cocaine. I was shooting crack cocaine. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't sniffing anything. It became intravenous everything. And I would do all these drugs in one day's time. All these drugs at the same time. Speedballing, doing multiple drugs in one shot. Fucking mess, right? So things spiraled after that very fucking quick for me. Very quick. It became to the point, and you guys can imagine, it was to the point where I couldn't work anymore. I had lost my job. I could not get another job. I lost my apartment, lost my car. Nobody was speaking to me. I was literally living on the streets at this point. I lived in this park called Energy Park, sleeping on the bench, and they had like a stage with a patio. I slept there for I think like 40 days. Um, I had no income at this point, and I had a serious habit to support. So this is where I began to turn to crime to support my habit. And that's a whole nother video, you guys. If you wanted me to like really get into, I'll just tell you basically right now that I ended up catching 9 felonies. 9 felonies. I'm not going to get into what they are, but if you guys wanted a video on that and you wanted me to like really break down the charges that I got and when I got them and how much time I did for each one and what happened with that whole thing, with my whole criminal history, I'd be willing to do that because it has everything to do with my addiction. It's completely related. If I was not addicted to this shit, I would have never been doing the crimes, I ended up catching 9 felonies. And of course, I was facing a lot of time in jail, a lot of time in prison, and I ended up going to jail several times and detoxing off all these drugs in a jail cell. And that was the first time I got clean, was going to jail. Of course, I did not learn my first fucking time because why would I, right? I had to come back out and commit another crime, catch another felony, and be back in jail and go through it again and again. And I did that for years. They just had a grip on me. They had a grip on me, like, in a way that I never imagined, things started getting really, really bad. I was in and out of jail all the time. I was homeless. You guys, you can look at me now. I'm 5'9", right? I weigh 170 pounds right now. And I still look pretty skinny, right? Like, I look like a skinny guy. I'm 170 right now. The last time I got locked up and went to jail, they weigh you, like, you go in and the medical has to weigh you and shit. I was 119 pounds. 119. I'm 170 right now. And I look skinny. Picture me 50 pounds lighter than what I am right now. Talk about black. I had 2 black eyes. My face was fucking... There's a mugshot out there somewhere, and if I can find it, I've looked for it before and I couldn't find it again for some reason. But if I can find it, I'll insert it into a video eventually. You guys would never in a million years believe that it's me in that picture. You would never fucking believe it. I was gone in the worst way. Not only that, I wasn't taking care of myself, so my body started shutting down, and I was doing these drugs on a daily basis. You know, when I could, when I wasn't locked up, when I wasn't in jail, I was out committing crimes, making money, and doing these drugs, and my body started shutting down. And in February of 2013, it was my mom's birthday, and no, so it would have been okay. My bad. January of 2013, on my mom's birthday, I went to my mom's house. I remember going to the store. It was her birthday. I bought her a little thing of flowers, like a little bouquet of flowers and a card. And I filled out the card. And I'm like, I'm gonna bring this over to my mom's house. I show up at my mom's house, and before I go in and bring her the card and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm gonna go in the bathroom. And I had a bag of cocaine and 2 bags of heroin left. And I'm like, I'm gonna go in the bathroom and do a speedball. Um, before I go in and give it to her. You know what I mean? Because this is just how I thought. Like, how fucking normal is that? But that's what I was like. I have to fix up quick before I go in there. And I went in her bathroom and I mixed up a shot of cocaine and heroin, and I shot it, and I ended up having a heart attack. A heart attack on my mom's birthday in my mom's apartment. I had a cocaine heart attack, and barely made it out alive. We can just say that. And I was on probation at the time, and because I ended up having to call an ambulance and go to the hospital, when I woke up um, in the hospital from the overdose, I was handcuffed to the bed and had a correctional officer sitting in the room with me, and went back to jail the next day. Um, and shit just got real crazy for me, you guys. For years, that was my life. Catching charges, using every substance you could possibly think of. I didn't even know who I was anymore. That was all my life was using. That was it. I didn't do anything else. I didn't know even what I liked to do. I didn't even know who I was, because from a young age, this is all I had been doing. This is all I know. I don't know how to be an adult without drugs in my life. I've never been an adult human being without drugs. Never. I don't know how, you know? So I was facing a lot of time in prison, right? And luckily, it had to be God above. I ended up getting accepted into what was called drug court. And I don't know if you guys have that where you live, but it's a court alternative program for drug addicts who have caught a lot of cases and who are facing a lot of prison time strictly due to their addiction, you know, because I was not out there committing crimes for any other reason other than to get high. And I was eligible for drug court, and I ended up getting into this drug court program. And it's only a 13-month program. If you follow everything and do it right, you can be off probation, out of the court system, and everything in 13 months. Of course, I don't do anything the first fucking time. So it took me 3 years to graduate that program. I ended up going back to jail 2 times in drug court, but they would accept me back in. And I ended up getting my shit together, and I was clean for 3 years. 3 years on Suboxone, and that's the longest clean time I've ever had. And I graduated drug court at the end of 2015, and I lasted maybe 30 days before I had a needle in my arm again. After 3 years of being clean, I relapsed and ended up getting kicked out of the building I was living in because it was a building where there was an actual police station in the building, like a sub police station, and this building was a building that was apartments, but it was run by the courthouse. So you'd have to take drug tests to live there, you know? And I went and was still having to take my drug test, and I failed and ended up getting kicked out, and checked myself into another treatment, went to, it's just a hot mess, you guys. I could never probably sit here and tell you every single detail, but I can tell you for a fact I've been to over 20 institutions trying to get clean. And when I say institutions, I don't only mean like halfway houses. I'm including everything, including jail, psych wards, mental health facilities, detoxes, halfway houses, treatment centers. I've been to 20 plus, probably over 20 at this point, institutions. And this addiction has had a hold on me and grabbed me in a way that I never fucking thought possible. And today I'm 30 years old, you guys, and I'm not clean. I wish I could sit here and tell you guys that after all that, I'm clean right now, but I'm not. I'm not. I don't use meth anymore. I don't use cocaine anymore. I don't use anything else except for heroin. very highly addicted to heroin again. Um, at this point, and I'm in a way different mind frame now. Though, like nowadays, I think about shit. I think about consequences. I would never. I've been out of trouble for a long time now with the law. I no longer go out and commit crimes to support my habit. You know, like if I don't have it, I don't have it, and I'll lay in bed sick for 1 day, 2 days at a time until I can figure out a way because I'm older, and I think that just comes with time. You know, I think I gained that wisdom with getting older. I think it was just a time thing, but I look at things a lot different now, and I think about getting clean all the time, and I want to be clean now more than I ever have in my entire life, and I'm doing several different things working towards that right now. But I'm struggling, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. It's not fucking easy, and even after everything I've been through, um, the drugs are that powerful. And there's a lot more to the story. I don't want to be on here for an hour long, but I could break this up into like several different little stories. If you guys wanted to hear like about my childhood leading up before I got to high school, I could tell you about that. That's a nightmare. If you guys wanted to hear about my entire criminal history and everything that happened with that, like the first time I got in trouble and how that led up to all the other charges I got and how much time I did in jail and all that different shit, I could tell you guys about that. If you wanted to hear specific stories about programs that I've been to and treatment programs and the psych wards I've been to, and I've been to multiple different halfway houses. And if you guys wanted to hear more stories about me actually being in treatment and what went on with that and where I went and stuff like that, I could do that. You guys will just all have to let me know down below. Just leave your comments. I'm gonna end it here. I just want you guys to know, if you're watching this, if you're looking at me right now and you're struggling with any kind of addiction, I don't care what it is. It does not have to be the same as what I am. Anything. I want you guys to know that how you feel, you're not fucking alone. You're not alone. I'm right there next to you. I feel every single thing that you feel. You're not by yourself, and that recovery is 100% possible. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but it truly is. Like if I can do it, I truly mean if I can do it, anybody can do it. You can do it. You can get clean and you can live a valued, sober, clean life. And I need to practice what I preach and get back on the ball game. And like I said, I'm working towards that right now. I'm doing a couple different things. I'm actually on a bunch of listings for detoxes right now because this is a major problem where I live, and we have like 8 different detoxes in the city that I live in, and every single one of them has a wait list over 2 weeks long. So if that gives you any type of, view into how bad this problem is here, in drugs in general, I live in a pretty bad area in a bad city. So, um, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I would love you guys to comment, share as much as you want down below of your story. You can tell me a little bit, you can tell me a lot. I love to read your comments and relate to you guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Please like, subscribe. This is gonna turn into a hobby for me. I can just feel it. Like you guys, I've like I said, like I've my entire adult life I've been using drugs, so I don't even know what I like to do anymore. I don't know what kind of hobbies I like. I don't know what I like to do for fun. I don't even know what I like to eat. I don't know what I like to fucking nothing, like I all I know is drugs and this way of life. So I really need a hobby, and I feel like YouTube could truly turn into that for me. Like I know I said this before, but I feel like YouTube could really turn into that gateway for me to stay busy and have a hobby. And that's why you guys subscribing, commenting, liking, and interacting with me means so fucking much to me, because it really could be a new way of life and a lifesaver for me. So I look forward to seeing your comments. Love you guys so much. Again, if you're struggling, you're not alone. Contact me somehow. I read all the comments, and I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.